Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my bigger pet peeves, and that is some of the cues coaches will use for weightlifting, and that is punch. So telling their athletes to punch for the jerk. I'm going to talk about why I think that's problematic for some people. If you get really good results with teaching people to punch and it works for your athletes and it works for people who you've trained and whatever, that is fine. That is not the discussion today. Today I want to talk about if you're not seeing the results you want to see in your own split jerk, in your athletes that you work with and coach, this is going to help kind of expand and maybe go over some reasons as to why some of those cues aren't working. So when coaches typically talk about punching, if there is a punch in the jerk, it is literally the change of direction, that explosive dip and then drive phase. So if there is a punch in the jerk, people are talking about a punch with their lower body. Some coaches might be thinking about punching under the bar and just a more aggressive lockout. But if you're telling your athlete who's quite slow under the bar, chances are we're thinking about increasing the velocity of that barbell. So we're thinking about creating a punch with the lower body, which again doesn't really make a lot of sense. So thinking about just exaggerating the drive phase is going to be far more effective. Thinking about shrugging, which I've done videos on before, or thinking about flicking your traps, which is a cue that I got from Chris Chancho. So these different ways you can kind of conceptualize the jerk, all of them are going to help you thinking about increasing the involvement of the lower body and committing to the jerk. And that's a big piece. So that's probably kind of overarches all of those things. With your jerk, if you're thinking about punching with the upper body, so say you conceptualize it as a dip and then you want to just press as soon as you get to the bottom of the jerk, what you want to try and do is delay the press. I've spoken about this in previous videos where as you dip, you want to kind of have a relaxed grip, let the bar be taken by the load in the lower body, so all the legs are taking all the load. As you change direction in that dip and drive, you're trying to delay that press. You're trying to think about shrugging or getting nice and tall to drive, and then you will have that bar float off you. What you don't want to be thinking about doing is getting to the bottom of the dip or just holding the bar with a really tight grip and tight upper body. So when you're holding the bar on your shoulders, you want to be thinking about having a relaxed grip. If you're thinking about dipping and then punching straight away, two things will happen. You will mistime the lift. You'll end up probably doing some kind of like weird press out because you'll be expecting it to happen sooner. You'll be expecting the bar to lock out a lot faster. But when you press, you take a lot of speed out of the barbell, and that has a significant effect on the bar velocity and then how obviously high it's going to travel when you drive. So those things will kind of mess with your timing quite a bit. So if you're thinking about pressing and punching, it'll exaggerate your ability to just press early and mistime the lift. So thinking about how anything that you can use to exaggerate the drive is going to be quite useful. Another telltale sign that you'll see whether or not someone is pressing early or thinking about punching too much is in the bottom of the dip. And if they jerk 200 kilos and their elbows drop a little bit, I don't think it's a big deal. But as soon as someone dips and their elbows start to drop and they want to press early, you'll see that manifest in a kind of change in front rack position. It could just be that the person doesn't have enough mobility to get into the positions for overhead. So just manipulating their front rack might be quite useful. But I think if you're being coached to punch, you're probably going to suffer from a lot of these kind of symptoms, which will affect your lockout and your split jerk later. So those things can be quite useful. Now in the warm-ups, it might be effective for you just to cue someone to just pause in the jerk and think about driving, or thinking about doing a tempo and then exaggerating the drive as they warm up. So they're going down nice and slow, controlled, and then they're thinking about being as powerful and as explosive. Another one that we've spoken about on the channel in things like shorts, in other videos, is shrugging or flicking the traps. Just as you would make contact and shrug at the top, it might not necessarily be correct per se, but if you want someone to commit to the jerk and maybe they need more help with following through and they kind of just get to the bottom and want to sneak under, those things are more effective for getting people to think about, how can they shrug that bar off their shoulders, which Might feel like a weird experience for some people, but it's probably the person who needs it most is the person who just dips and then sneaks under it and really struggles to create a bit more drive. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have another cue or you have some other thoughts on the jerk, put them in the comments below and I'd be happy to hear them. If you're also in the market for a training program, I have an 8-week power program that's in the caption and in my bio. You guys can check that out. If you want to develop the physical qualities that help you be more explosive, more beastly at weightlifting, and you want to develop a beastly second pull in your Olympic lifts, then check the program out below. It has a 63-page ebook and has all the information in there to become more athletic at weightlifting. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you in the next one.